Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com, here to do your weekly angel card reading for Monday, April 27th through Sunday, May 3rd, 2015. So we're already heading into a new month, the month of May. You'll also want to tune in and watch the monthly angel card reading for May, which I'm going to do shortly after doing this weekly angel card reading. So be sure to watch both of them. This week, the astrology, there's not a lot going on, but what is going on is seemingly pretty, I'll say deep, or transformative in a way. I feel like it has to do a lot with our thoughts and our belief systems. And we start out on Tuesday, April 28th, with the moon actually in Virgo. Now, the moon is about our feelings and emotions, and Virgo is a sign of logic and analysis. It's one of the signs that Mercury rules, so it's a sign of the mind. So the moon in Virgo is already a little bit uncomfortable in this position. And on Tuesday, and you'll even feel this on Monday because it's going to start to kind of come into connection later on Monday if you're here in the United States, it will make a challenging aspect to the planet Saturn. Now, Saturn is about lessons, and right now it's in the sign of Sagittarius. It is retrograde in Sagittarius. It will retrograde back into Scorpio, not this week, but it will retrograde back into Scorpio at some point in time during the summertime. And Saturn, again, being that great teacher of lessons, and some people call it the Lord of Karma, you know, with the moon squaring Saturn, you can feel a little bit low, a little bit depressed, a little bit limited or restricted, a little bit negative, especially with the moon in Virgo, already kind of feeling a little bit of that anxious energy that deals with self-judgment and self-criticism. Also on the same day, the moon is going to then oppose Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is kind of that elusive planet where it can be about wonderful spiritual energy, but it also can be about confusion and delusion and fantasy. So with that whole configuration going on, with the moon squaring or in that challenging aspect to Saturn, it's also opposing Neptune, I just feel like Monday, especially again later Monday going into all of Tuesday, it's going to be a really confusing time. I feel like you might be battling some of the ego mind belief systems or the negative ego mind thought forms. This is going to come out again with your emotions and your feelings because the moon is involved. So, you know, because Saturn's involved too, though, I feel like there's something that you need to be aware of, something you need to pay attention to, something that you're learning from all of this. And, you know, really when we deal with these periods of time, what we're learning is we're learning how to release and let go of those negative ego mind thought processes, belief systems, and energies. Okay, so now as we move into Thursday, the 30th of April, Mercury, which again is that messenger planet, it's a planet of the mind, thought, logic, it's going to be moving out of Taurus and moving into one of its home signs of Gemini. I feel like as far as the two signs that Mercury rules, Gemini and Virgo, I feel like it's almost more at home here in Gemini because it's very much about thinking and variety and brainstorming and coming up with various kind of thoughts and ideas of directions you might want to go into. So it really makes the mind really active. It's going to be a lot more comfortable here in the sign of Gemini than it has been while it was traveling through Taurus. With Taurus, with the Mercury in Taurus, it was much more methodical and step by step. Now your mind is going to be very active. In fact, while Mercury is in Gemini, especially when it's first moving into Gemini and perhaps when it's just leaving Gemini a little bit later in May, it's going to be really, in fact, I think it goes retrograde in Gemini, so it might be in Gemini much longer. I'll have to look at that. But anyway, it's going to be much more of an active mind. You might even have some trouble sleeping at night at times because of this particular placement. Now again, it's going to be really good for coming up with ideas and brainstorming with your goals, your ambitions, your life path, your career path, and things of that nature. Very creative on a kind of a logical thinking level. Now we go into Friday, which is the 1st of May, and again, we have no huge kind of things going on planetary-wise, but the moon is in the sign of Libra now, and it's making a challenging aspect to Pluto and a challenging aspect or an opposition aspect to Uranus. Again, that Pluto-Uranus square is still within orb. It is separating. It's moving apart. Uranus is kind of speeding up, and I believe it's at 17 degrees now. Pluto is at 15 degrees and retrograde, so it's moving away from or backwards from that 15-degree mark. But again, it's still within a couple of degrees, so very, very active energy with the Pluto-Uranus square still going on. And with the moon in Libra setting that off, you're going to find transformation in relationship matters. Libra rules partnerships, it rules relationships, it rules balance and harmony, diplomacy. So you're going to find situations perhaps with other people in your life, all different types of relationships that perhaps undergo some sort of redirection or transformation or a higher evolutionary energy of some sort, which is actually and can be a very good thing. Then we move towards Sunday, the last day of this weekly reading, May 3rd. And we start out with Mercury. Again, it's just recently gone into Gemini, and it's opposing or in an opposition to the planet Saturn. So we have a lot of Mercury and Saturn things going on this week, along with the moon setting some things off. But Mercury, again, in Gemini, wants to be very light and fun and experimental and adventurous in a way. And with it opposing Saturn, you might find that with other people in your life, there are some things that are going to be learned or shown to you through communication, through sharing communications with other people. Whenever you have two planets in opposition of one another, it will often play out in your life with other people and or situations and circumstances outside of you. So here again, Mercury opposite Saturn, we're dealing with some lessons via your thought processes, your belief systems, and how you communicate those with others. So you might be seeing that some people are a mirror to you in how you're thinking and communicating. Now, later on Sunday, and this is the big thing for the week, is that we have a full moon at 13 degrees Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is a pretty heavy-duty energy, as well as some of these other planetary things going on this week. Scorpio is about transformation, regeneration. It's about death and rebirth. It's about the deeper subconscious, the metaphysical aspects of life. And here again, we have this full moon. You're going to start feeling this. I feel like even Friday when the moon sets off the Pluto-Uranus square. And then, of course, Saturday it's building up, and then Sunday we have Mercury opposing Saturn, and then finally that full moon. So it's going to be kind of an interesting weekend with a lot of possibilities for deep inner soul transformation and change on a very deep subconscious level. So it'll be, I feel like, a week full of a lot of opportunities. We always have to look at these maybe sometimes heavier energies and aspects as opportunities for changing our consciousness, for looking at things from a different perspective, from changing our belief systems or releasing old belief systems that are no longer in our highest and best interest to hold on to. So that's a look at the astrology for the week. For the weekly card part of the reading, we're going to be using Doreen Virtue's Angel Tarot deck as we normally do. For the special message card, we're going to be using the Animal Wise Tarot deck by Ted Andrews. I used this once before, and I really like this deck because it deals with animal totems. And although it is a regular tarot deck, so you're going to have the major and the minor arcana, each card has an animal on it, and I just really like to connect with nature and the animal totem energy. while I was shuffling and meditating with both of these decks before starting the video, one of the cards in the Animal Wise Tarot deck kind of stuck out, and you see that right here. And it was very adamant that it wanted to be kind of a special message card for everyone for the week, so I put it back here. Now, as far as the special message card on a personal level, we have 3 stones of choice for you. And the first stone of choice is a malachite egg. So malachite vibrates to the heart chakra. It can be about deep emotional cleansing and healing. It's also, though, a stone that deals with prosperity and abundance. They often signify, putting like malachite on an altar, or even you can put it in a cash box or carry it with you or in your purse or what have you, to bring forth abundance and prosperity. But I feel like, especially for this week and with the astrology that we're having, this is about deep emotional transformation and cleansing of the heart chakra, and you could even say, in relationships too with the heart chakra. The second stone of choice is a piece of jet. And jet, if I am correct, is petrified wood. It's a black stone. It's not very heavy. Just like amber is kind of a petrified resin from a tree, and it's very light as far as the weight of it. Jet also is very light in weight. However, very different in energy from amber, obviously. The black stone is very grounding. It provides a source of protection from lower vibrational energies or negative energies in thought forms. And this is going to help to kind of absorb some of those heavier energies so that they can be released. And then your last stone of choice, this is kind of a mini amethyst cluster. I mean, this is really tiny, but if you think about the great big amethyst geodes, some people, I mean, they can be 4 feet, 5 feet, even 6 feet high as far as opening up an amethyst geode. And this is a very, very small version of an amethyst geode, and it's a little cluster. It's a very light, beautiful lavender kind of purple energy. And with that cluster, it can deal with group consciousness. It also deals with the crown chakra and higher consciousness and bringing forth higher dimensional energies, allowing you to remember your dreams, and allowing you to connect with, again, higher messages from angels and your guides and teachers of the light. So again, your stones of choice for the week are malachite, jet, and amethyst. So let's go ahead and we're going to pull 3 cards from the Angel Tarot deck that we're going to read for our weekly message for the week. So we're just going to give them another shuffle, and we're going to call in all of the angels, archangels, ascended masters, guides, teachers, and healers of the highest vibration of light to bring forth whatever messages, wisdom, and knowledge is in your highest and best interest to know. And I just look for cards that stick out to me or stick out of the deck or want to come out of the deck, as well as any card when I'm shuffling that seems to be highlighted in some way. Okay, so let's look at our first card for the week. Okay, we start out with the 5 of Fire. And the 5 of Fire says competing goals, bothersome details, and conflict with others. Now, this is kind of the astrology of what we've been dealing with, or what we've been talking about. Fives are also, fives are a lot of the times about chaotic energies, nervous energies, anxious energies, a lot of things going on at once. And with the fire element, we're dealing with spirit, we're dealing with passion, we're dealing with energy. So what this is saying right off the bat to me is that the energies, at least in the beginning of the week, if not for the whole week, are going to be rather confusing. They're going to be going off in many different directions. You might feel some, different anxiety or nervous energies coming up, especially with Mercury being involved this week, going into Gemini and opposing Saturn later on in the week. This very much speaks to not being very grounded and feeling, I keep getting the word nervous. I keep feeling like we're nervous about something or anxious about something with this energy. But let's go ahead and turn over the second card to see if it can give us more information. Okay, interesting. This is Major Arcana number 15. And in this deck, it's called Ego. Now, in the traditional tarot deck, it is called the Devil card. But the Angel Tarot deck by Doreen Virtue, she calls it Ego, and it's Archangel Jophiel. And at the bottom it says, a false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things, negative or fear-based thoughts. Well, that certainly is the ego. That is the ego mind. The negative thought forms, the negative belief systems, the anxieties, fears, and doubts that we often experience when we allow that negative ego mind to kind of pull us down. When we're not connected to our higher soul self or the higher dimensional energies, this is when those fears can start to come in. And if we look at the picture here, there is a man here, and he's got a mask over his eyes. So again, he's kind of blinded to the truth, which the truth being in the symbology of this card is that there's an angel right behind him. And if he actually took off that mask and allowed himself to see the reality of his situation, he'd see that he's divinely protected and guided by this angel. He would see that that higher vibrational energy has got his back, so to speak, and is guiding him and leading him to the answers. If he just would release that the confusion, the delusion, the inability to really look at his situation, and instead, again, he's got that mask covering his eyes so that he can't see or isn't connected clearly to what's going on. So instead, he's almost like blinded. He's blinded to the truth. He's blinded to not being able to see the light, and instead, he's kind of in darkness. That's kind of what the ego mind sometimes is about, is it pulls us down into the depths of these negatives, or the darkness, so to speak, which, it doesn't have to be scary or negative. It's just not being connected to our true light. It's not being connected to our true essence of who we really are. And that's when we feel that disconnect from spirit, then we feel very confused, very alone, very doubtful, very fearful. And this is definitely what this card seems to be signifying. And that definitely goes rather well with the first card being, about confusing energies or nervous energies. Let's look at the last card for the week. Okay, we have another number 5, and this time it's the 5 of water, and the water is the emotional realm, okay? And it says, things not turning out the way that you'd hoped, not seeing the positive in a situation, and crying over spilt milk. So again, there's going to be confusion and anxiety on the emotional nature as well. And I know this reading seems very negative, but again, remember what I said earlier when we were talking about the astrology, that these energies give us an opportunity to release and let go of some of these lower vibrational feelings, emotions, thought forms, and belief systems that we no longer need. So in effect, remember Saturn in the beginning of the week, the moon was squaring Saturn. Saturn's opposing Neptune. Later in the week, on Sunday, Mercury is opposing Saturn. So Saturn is that bringer of lessons, and he's trying to teach us to not get stuck in the muck. He's trying to teach us to release and let go of all of those lower vibrational energies and confusion and doubts, and instead focus on the angel in the background, Focus on this angel in the background that is guiding you. Again, Archangel Jophiel. She's there guiding and protecting and just ready to kind of shine her light upon you if you just let her. This is going to be a good week for you to really ground yourself a lot out in nature, spend some alone time, some quiet time, or time with a significant other that, can be very healing. Spend time in meditation, anything that you can do to kind of keep yourself balanced and allow yourself to release all of these, all of the nervous energy and the anxiety energy. Now, before we look at the special message cards for each of you, let's take a look at what this special message card or signifying card is for everyone. Okay. So this is Major Arcana number 18, and it's the moon. This is the wolf here in the Animal Wise Tarot deck, and at the bottom it says intuitive guidance and guardianship. So oftentimes in the traditional tarot, the moon also is one of those cards that deals with the subconscious. It deals with the subconscious conditioning and patterns that you learned in early childhood, as well as even things on a subconscious level that you bring forth from previous lifetimes that are, again, some of those doubts and fears, if you will, some of the more negative karmic energy. So again, this goes along perfectly with all the cards that we had, but the bright light here is this message at the bottom, that even though we're dealing with the subconscious and the ego mind this week, the wolf here says intuitive guidance and guardianship. Guardianship meaning, again, protection. And intuitive guidance meaning, again, if you connect with your higher soul self, connect with your angels and guides through meditation or yoga or prayer or being out in nature. This is going to provide you some clarity and balance and some of the messages from your own guides and angels or from Source God that's going to be helpful for you to move through the subconscious, let's call it reconditioning, that is going on within you. All the planetary aspects this week, it's really, it's talking about reconditioning the way you think and the way you believe. So allow some of those patterns to be purged from your psyche. Okay, so let's look at the special message card for the week, depending on your zone of choice. So again, we're going to take a moment and call in the angels, guides, master guides, healers of the light. Let's call in the healers of the light, because this is going to be a heavy week. And this one on my finger down here wants to come out. So this is going to be for the Malachite people. Malachite is the seven of winged ones, or the seven of swords, and it's magpie. It says proper use of secret knowledge. This is saying to go within yourself. That seven is always, again, very internal, contemplative, meditative, reflective. Go in and reflect within yourself on what some of these patterns are within you, some of these thoughts. And the number 7 for me, numerologically, is always about trust and faith. And so finding that trust and faith in the higher divine energy, finding trust and faith within yourself, knowing that this is something that needs to be moved through, because once you release and let go of some of these inner subconscious patterns and beliefs, it's going to lighten your energy. There's going to be an evolution that takes place, and that's a very positive thing. So tap into that divine wisdom, that divine inner wisdom, and again, they call it secret knowledge at the bottom. Tap into the truth of who you really are on a deep spiritual level and bring that forth this week. That's going to be what helps you to kind of get through some of these muddling energies. Okay, now for those of you that chose the Jet, actually this one's been kind of calling to me, so Jet, wow, you have the Tower card with the Vulture, and it says life, death, and rebirth, new vision. Now a lot of times people get really nervous when they see the Tower card. I don't really get nervous when I see the Tower card. What the Tower card means is that there's extreme changes in the circumstances outside of you. This is, again, usually about situations or, again, maybe even relationships, circumstances that are changing in a huge transformative way. And so there's going to be something this week that really brings forth a lot of these death and rebirth and transformation energies within you. Again, the vulture is one of those animals that kind of, feeds on, animals that have passed. If you watch vultures that kind of soar in the sky, if there's a lot of vultures in one area, it's usually because there is an animal that has passed from the earth plane, and the vultures kind of they go to that animal and they're actually helping with the cleansing process. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but they are removing some of the negatives so that it doesn't spread out to other animals or other people. So in fact, a vulture can be very cleansing in that way. And excuse my explanation on that, but I really always like seeing vultures as they soar in the sky because they're so majestic. And, you know, the tower, look at the tower again as this majestic energy that's coming in to swoop down and create huge redirection and change in your life. And that even though it may seem chaotic when you're going through it, in the end, you're going to know that you're on the right path. You're on a new path. You're on a slightly different path than maybe what you've been on or maybe what you thought you were going to be on. But it's bringing forth the transformation and change in circumstances around you that's going to bring transformation and change within you. Okay. And then for those of you that chose the amethyst, okay, this one actually. So we have another major arcana for the amethyst people, and this is the Emperor card with the eagle. It says vision, power, and healing. So again, we have more healing that's taking place. This is about owning your power, creating a sense of stability and security. It's kind of like stepping into some sort of a leadership role too. I really feel like, again, the eagle, you know, another majestic bird that kind of soars and flies, a little bit different from the vulture, but I feel like the eagle here is that you're getting ready to kind of step into some sort of power role or leadership role, either in circumstances outside of yourself, or you're just getting ready to, again, claim your power, stand in your power a little bit more, hold the vision of where you want to go and move towards that. And that energy is very healing in and of itself. So again, Major Arcana number 4 with this. The number 4 is always about the stability, the security, the focus, the work, the effort, the determination that needs to be put forth as you move forward on your destiny path. So I hope you've liked this weekly reading. I promise that you're going to get through this week and everything's going to be fine. Again, be sure to look at the monthly angel card reading for the month of May, as that will be up shortly as well. I send you all a lot of love and light, a lot of blessings, a lot of healing for this week. And if you want a more personal reading, or if you need a healing session for this week, please go to my website, sacredsoulempowerment.com, and I'd be happy and most gracious to connect with you and do that for you. So check out my services and check out my Facebook posts, and thank you so much for everything. I send you all many, many angel blessings.